Delighted to be here in the School of Management Sciences, Varanasi. Also delighted to be sharing the dais with two former Vice-Chancellors and one current Chancellor. The moment I stepped into the School of Management Sciences, I could see a different kind of air. The openness, the tallness of the buildings, the well-maintained campus, and the very warm welcome. When I received the invitation for this event, one thing very good was that it came well in advance, almost 2 months before. And I initially could not appreciate or understand the context or the school because I was not familiar with the School of Management Sciences. So it remained dormant in my inbox till somebody alerted me. And I was alerted, then I did go through it carefully. And I was very pleased to see that the School of Management Sciences is talking about spirituality. Normally the School of Management Sciences would talk about cutthroat competition, marketing, finance, HR, right? So good to see that such a ancient and current topic, Adhyatma, spirituality, is taking center stage in the School of Management Sciences. Very happy to learn that this is one of the top 50 B schools of the country. One would get a feeling that maybe it is 5 years old, 20, 15 years old, but no, this is 30 years old. It started at a smaller campus, now it has a much bigger campus. I come from BHU, as you know. In the academic world, it will not be an exaggeration to say that BHU must be the university that brought spirituality in formal academic space. In fact, we are so proud of our heritage that we try to make sure that we sustain the spirit of the university and we make sure that in the process we also welcome all modernity. At BHU, we don't see spirituality as something that is the domain of only intellectuals or only very pious people or only very religious-minded people. We believe that it is a domain of every human being, regardless of the profession, regardless of the age, regardless of the place you are, regardless of the context in which you are talking. When these 4 books were unveiled along with the proceedings, I saw the subtle but very clear distinctions between the various titles. Of course, all of them embedded in some form in the Indian knowledge system. But there was a very clear imprint of organizational behavior and the kind of topics that find mention in management schools. So it is extremely heartening to see that we are talking about spirituality in the context of modern management science. This is the need of the hour. When we talk about spirituality, we don't always have to talk about the past knowledge. about the past wisdom. We need to show a continuity that knowledge keeps on getting added, keeps on getting created. We build on the foundations of the past. We don't discard the past. Because if the foundation is not there, where we will build? But then we don't rely only on the foundation. That is what is required in all disciplines. Without sacrificing even an iota of pride in our cultural heritage, it is important to realize that every generation has to add to that heritage to ensure that it remains vibrant, vital, and is also sustained. And this kind of conference is an apt example of what needs to be done. So may I request the audience to give an applause to the School of Management Sciences that it is able to sustain such annual conferences year after year for the last 14 years. Many institutions, many departments across the country, maybe across the globe, they start something with fanfare, but unable to sustain it. So you can take pride in this fact that you are able to do this annually, and the fact that one of your journals, Purusharth, is a Scopus Index journal. It is an example for all institutions in Varanasi and outside that there is absolutely no need to compromise academic rigor while furthering your business interests. India has for long shown the importance of ethical conduct in all spheres of life, including business. But sometimes we get strayed by instances here and there. And our younger generation, whenever I talk to them, and if I get an opportunity, I don't fail to mention to them that don't just get carried away in what is coming in the news. Because what comes in the news is often the exception, not something that is the regular behavior. Largely people are ethical, spiritual, but then in some context, if the behavior crosses some Lakshman Rekha, then of course it gets mentioned for a negative reason in the news. But that is not what Indian society is, that is not what Indian people are. In this conference, I hope, and in the journals also, that we will be asking some tough research questions. And what do I mean by tough research questions? I mean to say questions, answers to which can only be found by sustained effort and profound research. Why is it that I get up in the morning, I do my prayers, I feel very spiritual, I take a vow that I will maintain a conduct as prescribed by my family, my ancestors, my culture, my religion, but I am not able to sustain it throughout the day. Why it happens that my principles get tested when the axe is on me? If I have to put the axe on somebody else, then I am very principled. But when the axe falls on me, why do I become less spiritual? Why is it that spirituality sees a surge after my active life? All of us have to enter that stage, one first stage or after that. and then we become less active, we become less ambitious, we have less desires, and we are more towards adhyatma. And when I am talking about adhyatma or spirituality, I am not, and I am sure you are also not doing it, not referring to any particular religion. There are so many different traditions, parampara within Indian civilization, which are all distinct, but at the same time, each of them has a deep sense or deep flavor of spirituality, and you get solace and peace in each one of them. If you ever go to some Indian parampara which is not necessarily the parampara followed in your family, I am sure you get a feeling. So get a better understanding and appreciation of your own tradition, of your own culture. One very good window is to read and get exposed to other cultures and other traditions. If we are able to do that, we will be able to advance the research objectives of the outcome of spirituality. If we remain within one tradition, if we remain within parampara, you will get a good feeling, good depth, but not necessarily in a global context, not necessarily in an overall perspective. And you will miss out some strengths which you can visualize if you get exposed to other traditions. So as academics, I would urge upon the School of Management Sciences that now that it has been doing this activity, in case it needs to focus more on this direction, please continue the work, and wherever required, if you want to join hands in this particular work with BHU, then our School of Faculty of Management, Institute of Management at BHU will be forthcoming in terms of joining hands for that endeavor. I have not written any research paper or abstract on this, so I don't have many more thoughts. But I hope that whatever little thoughts I have shared with you, if they spark a new idea somewhere in your own sphere, in your own setting, then I'll be happy with that. But in any case, I wish the conference that it turns out to be very, very successful in keeping its focus on the topic, keeping its focus on the title of the conference. I wish many, many more successful years for the School of Management Sciences. When I had accepted this invitation, I had started with an apology, and my apology was that unfortunately I will not be able to stay throughout the inaugural function. So please excuse me for this. I have to leave soon after this, but I am so happy that I could make it here, and I must thank the organizers for thinking about me and for inviting me and for giving me an opportunity to share my thoughts. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your presence and the inspiring address. So please just wait for 2 minutes. Sir has to leave for some important engagement. So as a token of gratitude, we shall now felicitate our esteemed chief guest. May I now request Mr. Professor P.H. our conference director, to present memento and shawl to Professor Ajit Kumar Chaturvedi, Honorable Vice-Chancellor